Please find a comfortable place to sit. Place your hands on your legs. Close your eyes or keep a soft focus on the screen. Take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. Continue to breathe deeply and slowly. Feel relaxation flowing down from your head into your neck, into your shoulders, down your arms, and into your hands and your fingers. Relax down into your chest, into your stomach, and down your legs, into your feet. Continue to breathe deeply and slowly. Okay. Welcome to the 5th lecture of my happiness class. The topic is hedonic pleasures. As somewhat redundant, many people talk about hedonic as meaning pleasure. I use the hedonic pleasures, though, as a category of feelings, a rough category of feelings that share 2 attributes. First, they are relatively short-lived. Actually, all pleasures are relatively short-lived, but hedonic pleasures are relatively short-lived, and they require external stimulation to some extent. We need the external stimulation to feel them, or at least we think we do. Hedonic pleasures are often thought of mainly pleasures of the body, what we call carnal pleasures of the body. And the pleasures of the body involve stimulation of the body's senses, that usually feeling, taste, etc. Although stimulation of the body directly is part of these pleasures, I will say that I believe most of the pleasure is still usually coming from the imagination and not just the body itself. Our use of imagination, I think, is what adds to the pleasures. I think the use of imagination, for example, adds to the pleasures of taste. And I'm sure that imagination adds to the pleasures of sex. So I think there is always room for imagination, even in the body pleasures, and that's a large part of why they feel pleasurable. The advantages of carnal pleasures are that they sate strong desires. The desire to eat, for example, is strong. The desire for sex is strong. Our desires of the body are instinctual to some degree, and therefore they're strong. And the pleasure we get out of them is immediate, and they're also strong. They don't last long, but they are strong pleasures for strong desires, if you will. These pleasures have been deemed low pleasures down through the centuries of philosophy. Most philosophers say that this is not really what we should be looking for, that they're not the higher pleasures and feelings we should be looking for. But, as I said, they have their advantage, is that they have strong desires and strong pleasurable feelings that are associated with them. And some say, look, positive feelings are positive feelings, and positive feelings are good and they're better than negative feelings. So any way that you can get a positive feeling, even if it's a body pleasure, go for it. Most, though, do not hold carnal pleasures in high esteem. They're deemed low pleasures for a number of reasons. They're short. Of course, most pleasures are short, but carnal pleasures are probably shorter than most. They're shallow. They don't go deep. They come, they go, they don't leave anything that we can expand on. They're subject to satiety and disgust. You might like chocolate. Having some chocolate may taste great. You get the pleasure of it. But eat chocolate for 3 hours and then tell me how you feel. Satiety, being totally over-satisfied, if you will, or that obviously when you eat too much when you're hungry, and it doesn't feel good, and you may feel disgusted, satiety and disgust. And that is one of the problems with carnal pleasures, is that you can't keep stimulating them without problems. And they're also subject to addiction. People become addicted to such pleasures. Of course, they become addicted to food and drink, sex. Some people become addicted to, back rubs. There are so many ways that a short, easy pleasure becomes compulsive, and anything you're addicted to takes away your freedom to choose and makes your life uncomfortable. So that is a real big downside of the carnal pleasures. And of course, they always require new fixes to be re-stimulated. You're not going to feel them if you don't re-stimulate them. And they do not build towards greater future happiness. Is that after you have them, it doesn't make it easier to build on that. There are some feelings that you can build on, and therefore become happier if those are the feelings that you prefer to feel, but not carnal pleasures. They also become increasingly painful the longer you indulge them. As I said, you keep eating chocolate, as you keep eating anything actually, even back rubs, sex, they become painful. You have to stop because they're going to become unpleasant, painful, and they can become physically and mentally harmful. I mean, if you keep going with some of these carnal pleasures, they can kill you. So they definitely have some real limits to them. When I talk about hedonic pleasures and this broader category, I'm not just talking about carnal pleasures. That's a small subset of what I include in this. We don't necessarily need to directly stimulate the body. In fact, most of the pleasures that we look for are not about stimulating the body. They're not direct stimulation of the body. We're looking for external stimulation of the mind as a means to feel chosen feelings. That we stimulate our mind to feel what we want to, but they're external stimulation. And that's why I include them in the category of hedonic pleasures. We engage in social interaction, hanging out with friends, engaging in conversation, playing games, etc. with people. That is one of the means that we use to feel what we obviously prefer to feel, if that's why we're engaging in that. We engage with other people. We engage in competitions, sports, games, etc. These are means to get with external stimulation to feel what we want to feel. I mean, we choose to do that, and the point is what you feel. We also engage in projects and hobbies, puzzle solving, music, dancing, cooking, all the many things we do as a means of entertainment. And of course, there's movies and books, video games that allow us, we choose to get this stimulation because they allow us to feel what we choose to feel. We are always seeking entertainments. Have you ever noticed that? We're always seeking to be entertained. It may not seem like a puzzle to most people, but actually it is sort of a puzzle. Why is it that we need entertainment? Why do we need to be entertained? Why can't we just simply be with ourselves? It's not good enough? Apparently not. If you become aware of what you're doing on a daily basis, you will find that you often choose to do something that's going to take your mind off yourself. Something where you need external stimulation to feel what you choose to feel. An explanation is, well, if I'm just sitting there by myself doing nothing, I'm bored. And boredom is an unpleasant feeling. It moves us to seek some sort of entertainment to stop being bored. The question is that why are we bored? Why do we have this unpleasant feeling of simply sitting there doing nothing, not engaging with the world? And of course, we have theories. One of the theories is that we're afraid of ourselves. We're afraid of being alone with ourselves. We're afraid of the unbidden thoughts that come and cause us some anguish because they're negative thoughts and memories and fears and worrying about the future, etc. And we try to get away from them. That is one of the theories, the fear of unbidden thoughts. Some would say that the actual fear is what lies deep within us, and we don't want to allow that to come up. But Freud would talk about the subconscious mind. There's a lot of unpleasantness there, and people don't want to have to deal with that. So that's one of the reasons that they seek to engage their mind in something else, seek entertainments. One of the theories that a number of philosophers have talked about is that we all have an existential loneliness by feeling separate from everybody else in the world. And that this is a fundamental aspect of being a human being, is feeling lonely. And we have to get our mind off of that loneliness and find a way to escape it. And we escape it through entertainments. There are some positive reasons why we might want to do things, though. Every entertainment is about seeking feelings. We want external stimulation because they make us feel. And this desire to feel seems very, very strong among human beings. The need to feel, the desire to feel, perhaps makes us more aware of being alive. But feelings are what attract us. We want to feel. And if they're pleasant feelings, then it's a no-brainer. Okay, that's a good reason. You're doing things to feel pleasant feelings. No mystery there. But there is a mystery, because so many of the things we do to entertain ourselves are about stimulating unpleasant feelings. Why is it that we watch a horror movie? I ask students this. Is there anyone here who likes to watch horror movies? A lot of hands go up. Why? Why do you like to watch horror movies? They make you afraid. They make you feel fear. You like feeling fear? And someone would say, well, yeah, I kind of like it. So pay attention to what's going on in your body here. I mean, feeling fear is usually not seen as a pleasant feeling, but you are purposely trying to stimulate feeling fear by watching horror movies. Of course, we watch movies that make us feel sad. Listen to songs that make us feel sad. Listen to stories that make us feel sad. And I myself have sat through many movies where I could not keep a dry eye. Just the tears coming out because of the sadness that you feel. And we do that on purpose. We can say, well, no, I'm not going to watch a movie that makes me afraid or feel sad. I'm not going to listen to sad music. But we choose to. We choose to because for some reason we want to feel those feelings. And anger, some people are addicted to the news. I plead somewhat guilty to that. But they will choose to watch, for example, talk shows. Talk shows that are reliably going to make you angry. That is their attraction. People are attracted to those shows, whether it's on TV or the radio. They want their daily dose of anger. Why? We do become somewhat addicted to those things. We seek them out. Why do we want to stimulate unpleasant feelings? Psychologists have addressed this question, of course. It is what you might call one of the mysteries of our motivations. Why unpleasant feelings? And here, what we have are theories. I mean, you can't prove anything definitively of what's going on with human motivation. But, of course, we can come up with theories, and psychologists have come up with those theories. The first of these theories is the contrast theory. And you've probably heard this before, is that to fully appreciate pleasure, you have to feel a contrasting pain. To fully appreciate pleasure, you have to feel a contrasting pain. And it's therefore our awareness of how pleasurable a good feeling is needs that contrast. Makes some sense, at least to some degree. Contrast theory is one of the theories. But the theory, I think that really kind of makes you think about what we do for entertainment is called the catharsis theory. The catharsis theory is that we need to build up the negative feelings, build up the emotional tension, the fear, the anger, the sadness, to get to the end and feel release. That feels good. But you can't get to the release unless you build up the tension first. Now, building up tension to get release is the major theme of stories, movies, and books down through time. I mean, the stories that were told, music, and etc. That quite often is that this is the dominant means of entertainment. Build up tension. That is why Hollywood works. It's how people sell books. Bollywood works in the same way. Stories about what we'll call, I would say, the good guys, but politically correct, the good person or good persons. Now, the hero of the story, if you will. And of course, they're going to have troubles. There are going to be the bad person or persons who are going to cause problems and are going to do things that are unjust, unkind, and downright threatening. And so you're feeling the tension build, the fear, the anger, that the tension is building. And then finally you get to the end where it's happy ending usually, because that is the release. The good person wins in the end. The bad person gets their comeuppance. And the feelings that, okay, it's all good now. The release, catharsis. That is the dominant theme of so many of our entertainments. You need the tension, the negative feelings, to feel the release at the end. That is one of the explanation, and as I said, is that it is so dominant in our entertainments that there's obviously something to this. I mean, the catharsis theory definitely has carries a lot of weight in my mind that it as an explanation, because it's so predominant. And obviously, we all are attracted to this type of entertainment, build up the tension, get catharsis. Even when we're doing projects, that the buildup of tension of trying to get something done at the end, it's finished. The catharsis theory. I'll mention one other theory, and it goes a lot deeper into our psyche, if you will. It is a theory that Eckhart Tolle, for example, brings up, and many others too who have mentioned who have thought and observed the dynamics of the ego. And in this sense, I will also go to Freud, who talked about what's going on in our subconscious. Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, which you might consider kind of like Freud's subconscious, that is a negative feeling entity, if you will. The explanation here is that there's something about the ego that sees an attraction to pain. The ego is attracted to pain. It will move you to cause pain in yourself. So this idea that there is a certain attraction to pain, to the bad feelings, the negative types of feelings, other than us just seeking pleasure, but a real attraction to pain, that is a deeper understanding. I think it has some merit. It explains, for example, people who are always causing drama in their lives and the lives of others, to cause feelings that are negative. It might explain their behavior. The people who are always practicing self-sabotage, always somehow making sure that things don't work out in a relationship, or choosing partners who are going to be abusive. Why do people do that? This theory would actually explain that. There is, at some level of the psyche, an attraction to pain. I move now from the category, thinking of the category of feelings called hedonic pleasures, because I want to introduce some understanding of general attributes of different kinds of feelings, so that we can become more aware of what's going on, whether we're feeling positive or negative, because often we don't, we just feel we're unconscious that way, just going on about our lives and not really aware of our feelings at the time, or the quality of our feelings. We're just going with the flow that way. And a very important understanding here is that feelings always have a corresponding body reaction. We have a reaction that is essentially negative feelings, tension. Tension in your body, especially in your neck and your torso. You feel a tension there. Negative feelings are associated with tension in the body. Positive feelings are more associated with a relaxation of the body, a relaxation of your muscles. This is really important to understand, because if you're going to be aware of your feelings, you might BS yourself to what you're feeling, but pay attention to what's going on in your body. If you have tension, there's some problem there. That is some negativity going on. If you can actually feel a relaxation, that is probably associated with a preferable feeling. The body is a more honest barometer often than our minds are when it comes to deciding how it is that we feel. An important distinction: tension, negative; relaxation, positive. That begins an understanding of the attributes of feelings: tension, relaxation, and the body. I refer, however, also to what I'll call psychological attributes of positive and negative feelings. Positive feelings have a certain lightness, as if our awareness, our experience is lighter, in the sense of more light. Negative feelings are more associated with a darker experience, a darker awareness. This has something to do with the focus. Positive feelings have an expanded awareness, an expanded focus that is taking in far more of what is happening than with negative feelings. That when you're feeling happy, for example, you can kind of pay attention, and it's not just some aspect of the world at that point that seems as happiness. The world seems happier. Your experience has a broader focus. Negative feelings zoom in. They tend to focus on something, a thought, a person, a situation, focus tightly on that. And if you're feeling fear, that is especially true. All you can see at that point is what is causing you fear. Anger, the same thing. You focus in. And of course, when you focus in, your experience becomes darker. Tighter focus, darker awareness. Those are attributes of feelings. Psychological. Broad focus, narrow focus. Positive feelings also feel kind of light and easy, but kind of like a butterfly. It's hard to keep them. They seem quite often fleeting, because you can have this relaxed, open, happy feeling, and then the next thought comes or something happens that just seems to take you out of it so easy. They're hard to keep hold of. Negative feelings, on the other hand, seem burdensome and compulsive. It's as if you can't get rid of them. They insist on staying in your awareness. Burdensome and compulsive. The more positive feelings, light, easy, more fleeting. But the negative feelings seem like they weigh a ton and you can't get rid of them. These are attributes of feelings. Becoming more aware of them is the beginning to increase your ability to feel as you choose. The ability to feel what you prefer starts with awareness. You have to be more aware of what you're feeling and be more aware of whether that is really a feeling you want to keep feeling or not, before you can get into the whole matter of what do you do to change what you feel. So this is the practice that I'll recommend, and this becomes a fundamental practice for your ability to feel better in the moment. Pay attention to your body, to the relaxation of your body, or the tension of your body at various times during the day. You don't even have to stop moving, just be aware. What's going on in my body? Am I tense? Do I feel relaxed? That becomes the first thing to do, because quite often it's a lot easier to pay attention to your body than think about your psychological state at the moment, because the body is pretty obvious. If you're tense, you can feel it pretty easy. If you're relaxed, it's the same thing. And also, when you're feeling tension or relaxation, pay attention to what you're thinking. This may be actually causing it. As I said in the last lecture, thinking and feeling are connected. So pay attention to when you're feeling tense, and then give a little observation to what you're thinking then, so that you can start getting more of an awareness of what you're doing and how you're feeling. The road to happiness, especially the ability to feel what you want to feel in the moment, begins with this. Pay attention to what you're feeling, the tension. And pay attention also to your entertainments. Do they seem to involve more tension or relaxation? If you prefer to feel more relaxation, you might think about what you do to entertain yourself. Awareness of feelings and a little more awareness of what is causing them becomes the foundation for learning how to feel better than otherwise. If you're not paying attention to what you're feeling, you're not going to be able to use choice, conscious choice, to decide what you're going to do. So the practice is start with awareness of what you're feeling. And if you're not sure, pay attention to your body. And then pay attention to what's going on. It may not have anything to do with what's happening out there, and it usually doesn't. It usually has something to do with a thought or thoughts. One of the findings in happiness research is that most of our thoughts, probably over 90%, are negative. They're associated with negative feelings. And learning how to overcome this preponderance of negativity in our thoughts, of course, is going to be absolutely key to your pursuit of happiness. The next lecture will investigate flow, reverie, and peace of mind. Here, we will start looking at feelings that may be in the self-sufficient category, the category of feelings that we want to keep feeling. And we may discover, actually, that there are some categories that you may not have been paying too much attention to that would be very worthy to achieve. I hope that you join me for the next lecture. Namaste.